Welcome to The Sober Unicorn. We are a gay-hosted, all-inclusive podcast about sobriety and addiction recovery for the LGBT plus community and all of our allies. I am your host, Holden, and thank you for joining us today. Well, hello, everybody. I hope you're having an amazing day. If you're not, don't ever hesitate to reach out to us here at The Sober Unicorn or to any of our platforms or any of our guests that have shared their social media platforms. So today we have somebody that I started following on Instagram, I would say like 6 months ago, by the name of Joey. Hello, Joey.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So Joey's experience, I think, is going to be a little bit more unique compared to most guests because Joey, of course, is in recovery as well as assisting other people in recovery with a company that he's been able to build. So before we head into like what you do for people in recovery, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your own like recovery journey?
Yeah, so I'm Joey Backrack, and I am a proud and grateful alcoholic, and I just celebrated 6 years back in November. I've been pretty vocal about my story and who I am, where I came from. But to give you the short version, it wasn't always rainbows and sunshine, and this was a time way before Rainbow Hill existed that my husband and I built from the ground up. And I was somebody who loved alcohol a lot. And I put myself in very questionable situations, and I didn't like who I was and who I became. And the versions of myself were quite disturbing and disgusting when it came to who I was as a person, period. I had two alters, one called Hoey, who was very promiscuous and got me into a lot of trouble, and then Jose, who was a complete asshole and a despicable human being. So I nearly burnt all of the bridges I've ever built down to the ground. And I had a year and 4 months when I got sober my first go around, which was in 2015. And then thought that I was unique, special, and different. And it's like, oh, I'm not an alcoholic. Maybe I don't have a problem. I do, and I did. And I nearly burnt everything down in a matter of months. And I came to the realization that, you know, it's okay that I'm an alcoholic. I've embraced it, and I wanted to figure out how I was going to then be able to build my life back up with my husband from the ground up. And that's exactly what we did with Rainbow Hill Sober Living back in 2021 and Rainbow Hill Recovery that we just opened in June of last year.
So how was building a business? Well, was I mean, of course. Okay, let me take the word business out of it because the thing is, even though that's what it is, it's a business of helping people, a business of service. Same
Mhm.
thing as the funeral industry and stuff like that. And it's something that we do to help benefit others, but of course, somebody has to keep the lights on, unfortunately. How was that building that after COVID? I mean, that was a huge risk.
Yeah. So today, like I said, I'm representing both myself and my husband. He was the one who actually came up with the idea. A lot of our friends who are not in recovery. So a majority of our friends are normies, and a lot of them were going through things, but not really focusing on what the problems were, and they were just complaining a lot. So we had an extra home in our family, and we, you know, proposed that we do this, and we said why not, and why specifically LGBT was because there weren't any sober livings that catered to our community, and the ones that claimed to cater to our community weren't in fact affirming. And being friendly, as I'm sure everyone knows, is very different than being affirming. So sticking a gay flag on your website is not going to cut it with us. So that's how we got started. And as far as the business aspect, I mean, yes, it is a family home, so we don't have a landlord in that sense. We do work on a sliding scale. We've scholarshiped so many residents since opening in 2021. So if we are able to meet with our clients where they're at before they move in, we get a better understanding of what their life goals are, what they would be able to afford financially. And then because we have clients who pay the full price, we are able to, work on that sliding scale and scholarships. So it's a business, yes, on paper, but it's more of a passion for us. And what Andrew and I both say day in and day out is that, we didn't wake up one day when we were 13 and say, hey, I'm going to open up a sober living. We met doing real estate 7 years ago, and that's how Andrew and I met. And we flipped homes, we've done deals together. So I think everything that would have tested a relationship was tested a very long time ago, as far as stress and all of that. So we literally painted and built all those beds by hand, and we did the same thing with our IOP program, Rainbow Hill Recovery. So
Well, talk about a sliding scale. Like, I mean, here in Fort Lauderdale, there are a few homes that are willing to do that. But to let everybody know, a lot of sober livings, people see it strictly as a business.
mhm.
So many won't scholarship, many won't allow a sliding scale. And the thing is, like, it seems like your passion more is to help them, because the thing is, when we get out of rehab and we're seeking that sober living home, that fresh start with somebody that can hold us accountable, most of us don't have money.
Mhm.
We don't have that means to pay a month or a couple weeks to let us get that job. So thank you for doing that. And
Yeah,
the thing
of
is,
course.
that's incredible. So you talked about slapping a rainbow flag. Okay,
Oh,
so
yes. That's a pet peeve of ours.
so what is so different about your rehab, or I mean, sorry, your sober living and IOP compared to a company that, or a facility that would slap a rainbow flag on the outside?
Well, for starters, we are openly gay. We wear sobriety on our sleeve. Andrew and I, we love everything about what we've been doing for the last 3 years, and we meet our clients with where they're at. We hear them, we see them, we don't see them as a number. We don't have a revolving door at our house. Our clients that are at the house, this is another fun thing that we do, is that whenever somebody calls, Andrew and I always do the pre-assessments. And if we feel that they'd be a good addition to the house, we then bring them to the house, or they do it virtually if they're inpatient or they're out of state. And the residents who are at the house are the ones who decide on who moves in. So they have no idea what everyone's paying, but we provide them with candidates who want to move into the house, and then we leave it entirely up to them. And if they say no, that person's not moving into our house. Some may think that's a stupid business plan or idea because we could lose money, but it's not about that for us.
Mhm.
You have one bad egg, the whole batch can go rotten very quickly. So,
No, it's very important, I think, to have that house vote. I mean, I'm in sober living, and I've said the same thing. I'm like, why are we not voting people in? Because as you said, one bad egg, everybody gets along until that one mother trucker
mhm.
starts causing some shit between people, and the next thing you know, nobody's comfortable. People feel unsafe, and then that's the whole reason we move here, is to feel safe, have that accountability. So, of course, that's of course super important to, I feel, vote people in. I think every halfway house should do that entirely.
Yeah,
um
it's worked wonders, and I think that's one of the many things that separates us from other sober living specifically, is that we do leave it essentially in our clients' hands, and they're the ones who decide that, so they really feel a part of. And it's really cute because some of the we have a trans woman who, she's very motherly. And so when people are interviewing for a spot at the house, she's like, "Boo boo, I've been exactly where you are right now. You're totally fine. Shake it off. If you need to, just scream, and then we'll continue the interview." So we think of it as like a fun audition, and they love it.
of course, and you talked about gender affirming. So do y'all offer like resources for people to get the gender affirming care?
We do. We have a list of providers that we do refer out to, because sober livings are not allowed to provide any sort of treatment. At the end of the day, a sober living is a group of individuals who live as a family unit under one roof. And for our home, we all happen to be queer. So we have, as of 3 months ago, 4 months ago now, we did expand in accepting trans women. It was long overdue, but because we were primarily gay men and trans men and non-binary folk at the house, we wanted to wait until the current group that we had moved out, because they do move out usually together, getting apartments, which is amazing. And then we were going to implement having trans women start moving in. But everyone at the house was like, "Why'd you guys wait so long?" I'm like, "Of course." So once they said okay, we are like, "Okay, we're good to go." But something that was surprising to us when we first opened was a majority of our clients have actually been trans men and non-binary folk since opening, which is amazing. And when we do have the interviews and they say, "Oh, I'm trans," everyone in the interview is like, "And why do you want to live in a home like this?" Like, it's not a thing that's made into a bigger thing where they may have to feel like they'd have to hide going into a, well, not an affirming sober living or program. So and then for our clients who are in the process of transitioning, we do allow them to take hormones. So whether that's estrogen or testosterone, obviously it has to be prescribed by a doctor because we cannot do that ourselves. Or we help them get paired up with an endocrinologist. So it's really important that everyone, if it's not in LA specifically, if it's in a different state, that if you do find a sober living, that you ask the right questions. You find out if they're truly affirming, if they'll allow you to take your hormones, will they treat you like a freaking human being? I get a
Yeah,
lot
well,
about this whole topic, honestly. And
I
it's
mean,
like,
will they make it a safe space for you? That's the biggest thing. And why do you think having a safe space is so important?
well, it's really quite simple. You don't want to feel like the second shoe's going to drop, and you just want to breathe, and it's your home. It's having to feel like you're going to look over your shoulder or you're going to have to leave at a moment's notice. I mean, it's a very unsettling thing. And if you're worried about being accepted for who you truly are based on who you are, like, how can you focus on your sobriety? For me, at least, it's that simple why it's important to have a safe space.
Yeah, I mean, I know when I was searching for sober living, I looked for gay ones. But shockingly enough, Florida, there's not a whole lot. I mean, there is, but they're like very few and far between.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm in Fort Lauderdale, like the gayest place on earth. So coming in, I was very scared
Mm-hmm.
about being with nothing but these straight men. Most of them like are very macho, try to like prove themselves alpha males, and I'm like this queen, big old fat queen, and I'm rolling in here. But like, thankfully, I am very blessed to be in the house that I'm in because I have LGBT friends that went to halfways, didn't feel safe, and chose to move out. And they didn't feel like they were allowed there. So in a way, I feel that they were forced out of the halfway because the attitudes that they were met with. Um, but thankfully, I have been blessed to be in the house that I'm in. So, but having a safe space is, especially with gender affirming. The
Mm-hmm.
thing is, people are still very uneducated when it comes to the piece of trans, non-binary, and gender issues. So having a safe space, especially in a LGBT affirming household like yours, I think is a huge benefit to the community. And I think other halfways could learn from your model because I work in treatment. We get trans people quite often. And it's we want to make sure we are as comfortable, as respectful, pronouns, everything, when they come into our facility because we want to make sure that they're in a comfortable space and they know that they're safe. But not everybody does that.
Well, it's not something that happens overnight. I can tell you that much. It takes time, patience, um, making sure that your clients know that you're there for them, you hear them, you see them. The slip ups may happen, but it's never malicious. It's always coming from a place of wanting to do better. So it's a battle that we're still trying to fight. So I applaud you.
So, of course, how do you think, like, of course, being queer, I think we have a unique experience. Yes, in the 12-step programs, everybody's like, "Oh, I thought I was terminally unique, but I know I'm not in my addiction." But I do feel that queer people have a unique experience when going into addiction or in their own life. So, how do you think that queer experience throughout addiction and recovery differentiate from straight experience?
I mean, we have to. Well, for I can't speak for the queer community. I can only speak for myself. But for myself, I know that, having to lower my voice a little bit deeper when I was in middle school, then high school, and then pretending to be straight. And then I mean, I don't know if you did this when you were younger, but my thing was like, no, I'm not gay. I'm not bi. I'm metrosexual. it adds that. I mean, as a kid, you don't really think about it as much, and then when you're an adult, you're like, oh shit, that was pretty fucked up. Or I don't know if I can cuss on here,
Yeah,
but
it's fine.
but I mean, so it's things like that. Something that you wouldn't think as of a straight person, that you would have to like conceal who you are, or kiss your boyfriend after first period, like behind the bleachers or under the bleachers, or it's it's a little different. And then with our trans clients, I mean, that's a whole other thing that they have to go through as well. So
And
it's
I cannot understand that. The thing is, I think the trans community, they deal with hatred from the straight people,
Mhm,
and they deal with hatred from their own community.
mhm,
And so it's like they themselves are being pushed out and now are just this like small community trying to just be respected, but in totality. And so I think, of course, as you said, we can't speak for everybody, but
mhm,
like for me, it's the biggest thing in my that I found difference, especially in my addiction, was meth sex was totally normalized.
mhm.
It's like being on any app, being on all this, it's just like, do you party? Do you party? Do you party? And I was like, holy hell. I cannot imagine being straight and going to a woman and be like, do you party bit? And like I it's insane to me on how many people in the gay community are doing that, partaking in that. It's like, and I always comment on how the gay community is sponsored by Absolute Vodka. Because I do not know of any LGBT event other than the gay sober pride out in New York.
Mhm.
I don't know of any event that is for the queer community that is not surrounded by beer and alcohol.
Well, when we have parties, there's never alcohol, obviously, and we throw some amazing parties. So if you're ever in LA, you will definitely have to coordinate with us so we can make sure that you can attend. But they're a good time. And then
I
we
would love to come to LA. I miss living out there.
come out and party. I mean, us sober gays know how to have fun.
That is
So
true. I mean, I go party with all like my sober people, but all my sober people are straight. And the boyfriend, I can't like I don't take him to my sober events really because he's the normie. So
that's
it's like, I mean, he doesn't drink or do drugs, but it's just still like, I mean, he doesn't like. I'm like, well, I don't want to have him around my sober people. That's like that's my safe space.
wow. I in that department, I think I lucked out then because my husband is 13 years sober. So
Damn,
yeah.
girl,
No,
did he 13th step you?
no, God, no. No, 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 no. I was already sober when I met him. So definitely not. But
Okay, good, good. Okay, because I was about to make a shirt that says professional 13th stepper.
that is awful. There's
So
a special place in hell for 13 steppers. So
for real, especially, I mean, well, I mean, I need 13 steppers bad, but the male female dynamic I feel is so much worse than two men because most of the time gay men are whores. Just saying. I mean, the
well, Jose was, or yeah, Hoey. So
Hoey.
I get it.
Um,
In a past life, so no worries there.
being gay, of course, you're somebody that's a part of the community. Um, how did you overcome the higher power situation? I don't know if you worked a 12-step program, but I know that for many LGBT people that struggled with hatred from that and ostracization from the churches, that's what they struggle with the most trying to get into recovery. So how did you overcome it?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad that you're bringing this up. So for me personally, I grew up Jewish, and I had a lot happen as a young child and into adulthood. But once my father passed away, I kind of severed that relationship that I had with God, one would say. But then when I got sober, it was very much in my face, higher power this, higher power that. And I was like, well, I do believe in the universe, and I do believe in fate, and I believe in, like, I mean, look at me, I have my freaking crystal that I just got yesterday. So I'm all for that. So I think it's whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be God. It could be a doorknob. It could be anything. For me, it was nature, destiny, fate, whatever you will. I'm huge on that. So that helped me put two and two together. And I did do the 12 steps my first go around. I was in a meeting every day for a good majority of my first year, and then I went out, but remembered everything that I learned. And now I have 6 years, and I go every year to get a cake. So it does work. It works.
No, for sure. I think the word God always bothered me. 100%. I think it does for many people, straight including.
Mhm.
For me, I'm the same believer in like the universe, where I feel like the law of attraction. I don't know if you've ever watched The Secret,
Oh
which is
yeah,
like yeah,
I
love
watched
it.
that when I was in middle school and high school, and I was like, I know what I want in life. And then it was about applying it in the real world and doing the work. I am a firm believer, and so is my husband, when it comes to one thing that definitely gets under his skin is, oh, it just happened. Like this just happened. It was handed to us. It's been a lot of hard work, a lot of sacrifice. We've been very clear about always putting our clients' needs first. It's like you don't understand what we sacrificed for 3 years to have everything right now. It's been, and it's worth it. But it's a combination of destiny, fate, hard work, and dedication, and a lot of sacrifice.
To be honest, I mean, you talked about the home being a family home, but I mean, I think for anybody that own a sober living, buying or obtaining the home is probably hands on the easiest thing to get done. You sign some paperwork, you deal with the financial issues, the actual getting accreditation, getting a good house manager, a solitude set of rules, making sure you bring the right people in. Like that's the hard part. Like getting recognition to make sure that you have good referral sources to say, hey, getting the connections with possible treatment centers to so when they are looking for the low level of care step down, to say, hey, we know over sober living that will benefit you greatly. So the thing is, nothing is handed to you. So yes, that it may have been a family home, but again, buying the house or obtaining the house is probably the hands on the easiest thing for any sober living. The rest of it's hard.
The rest of it, I mean, we were at every single networking event, and we were the new kids on the block, but we were only a sober living at the time. Everyone else was working at a treatment center. They owned treatment centers or multiple locations, and we really, really busted our butts networking, getting to know everyone, inviting them to our home, getting the word out there, who we are, what we're doing, why we're doing what we're doing. And it is just myself and Andrew. So we don't have any outside investors or anyone telling us what we need to do, what our bottom lines are. We've made our prices affordable and accessible, same like at the house and at our program. So it's been a lot of work, and social media has been our friend. Um, a majority of our clients from the house have actually come from out of state. So and then the topic with treatment centers, though, it's yes about building those relationships. But one thing that I do know for a fact that has separated the house is that we were very clear from the beginning that we will never work with a single treatment center exclusively, because bed vouchers and body brokering, that's a whole other beast and disgusting. So the two, we just, no thank you.
Separate the two.
Oh,
I mean, but hey, that's not a bad idea though. I mean, and I do get what you're coming from with that. But going back slightly was to the law of attraction, the secret documentary is I believe what you put onto the universe is what you get back.
mhm.
So I'm not a huge prayer person. You will not catch me on my knees unless it's never mind. So it's but
Got that.
no, I'm a good I like meditation. It's about just getting positive energy out there, and I have noticed that you like if you're nicer to people, if you just show a little bit more respect, if you have a little bit more of a positive attitude, like your day just goes so much better, and you sleep and you're not super stressed. You're not holding on to hatred because guess what? Loving somebody is so much easier than holding on to hate for somebody.
Mhm.
And it's crazy. So, where do you see Rainbow Hill, the actual not recovery, not the outpatient program, but Rainbow Hill itself? Where else do you see that
Expand,
going
growing
into?
into something larger, which means we'll be able to help more people all over the country. Because right now we are only located in California, but Rainbow Hill is kind of a movement, I guess one could say. I mean, it's like you could be and breathe Rainbow Hill. It's, I don't know. It's weird to talk about, but very exciting.
Yeah,
Um,
so you just see
it's a way of,
expansion.
it's a way of life, and it's pretty amazing. So
That's, I mean, that's a blessing in disguise, because the thing is, your intentions are correct. So the thing is, you didn't go into this to say, let's make this kind of money. I mean, as you said, y'all were both in real estate before. You could have just stayed in real estate. Flipping houses is very lucrative. Y'all wanted to do something that was more behind passion and helping somebody. And yes, you said it's a lot of work, but it's a very rewarding work.
Yeah.
It's laying your head down at night knowing that you are helping that person, and maybe because of Rainbow Hill, that person got the gender affirming care that they needed. Maybe you helped them out of a depressive suicidal situation, and so on. I mean, it's the list could go on of what kind of situations you could help them out of. So expanding that and getting that more accessible to other people would just be a blessing to the community overall.
That's our goal.
So where can people find you?
Well, they can find us at Rainbow Hill Sober Living and at Rainbow Hill Recovery. Those are the two. And then, yeah, so that's where you can find us.
Is there anything that you haven't said before we end the episode that you would like to share with everybody?
I'm gay. I'm sober, and I love sobriety. Yeah. I mean,
well, thank you.
I mean, it's true. Yeah.
I do too. So don't worry, I'm gay. It's pretty obvious. I mean, I have a fucking unicorn as my logo.
I love it. I love it.
But I appreciate you coming on. I know you have a very busy, crazy schedule, and I look forward to hopefully having your husband on here eventually.
Yes, you'll have both of us next time. And if you are in LA, you'll have to come and visit, and we'll have to show you around.
Yes, sir. We'll talk soon. See you soon.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you again for listening to today's episode. Hit that follow button to be notified about new episodes every week. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can find us on Instagram at The Sober Unicorn Podcast or on our website at thesoberunicornpodcast.com. There you will find our episodes as well as our very own sober-owned shop featuring products from small businesses that are sober-owned. And remember everyone, don't be normal, be a unicorn, but better yet, be a sober unicorn.